your dealer. Contact them at 844-POWER-BZ or visit them at powercopiers.com. Here's your host, Scott Marsh, alongside the high flyer, Henry Turner.
And a very pleasant good morning to you. I guess we're going to have to call it King's Morning or King's Game Day or something like that today. Early game day for you today as the Kings get ready to take on the Chicago Bulls. Game 2 of the 3-game road trip for Sacramento. And what a start to the trip, and just what a start to Doug Christie's interim coaching career with the Kings. The win in Boston on Friday night, 114-97. I don't think you can argue it. It was the best win of the season for the Kings. They go on the road against the defending champs and to blow them out in the fourth quarter. I mean, not even a close game in that fourth quarter. It was tied at 76 going into the quarter. The Kings outscoring the C's 38-21 in that final quarter. And in those 12 minutes, they clicked at an exceptional level offensively. They got it done on the defensive level. How good was Keegan Murray defensively in that game on Friday night? He was fantastic. He got the defensive player of the game afterwards. And obviously that locker room was fired up. And now this Kings team's won 6 straight. So they are on a big time run right now. They've gotten back to 500. They're 19-19 on the year. And what could be a lost season for the Kings. I mean, we remember back on December 21st at 1:42 in the afternoon, what happened when Mike Brown got let go and the Kings had lost 6 straight and had lost 5 at home and thinking, oh my goodness, the season is in full collapse. What is going to happen? And understandably, there was a lot of frustrated fans and a lot of comments about how things were handled and all of that. But as you fast forward to January the 12th today, all you can do is look at it in amazement of what the Kings are doing right now. And they're doing it without De'Aaron Fox. The Kings have won 3 straight without their best player, who is going to be out today, by the way, as well, for his 4th straight game in Chicago. But the Kings have had no problem with it. And obviously Malik Monk has run the point at an exceptional level. DeMar DeRozan's played his best basketball of the year. We're going to break it all down. We'll be with you for the next hour. Scott Marsh here, high flyer. He's got some other family commitments. He's not able to be in with us today. He won't be in for the Kings broadcast as well. Our thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family on this Sunday morning. But Anthony's here. We've got Ramsey here. We've got you covered all morning long here. We'll get you ready for Kings pregame live at noon, 12:30 tip in the Windy City today in Chicago. Kings and the Bulls. And we'll break that all down too, because the Bulls are a team. They're playing better right now too. They're at 18-20. Zach LaVine's playing well. Vucevic is playing well. Are the Bulls going to be moving those people? We've talked about this for several years now. As we get to January towards February and the trade deadline, who is going to be left with the Bulls when all is said and done? They've been there for several years, and now they're getting themselves into a potential playoff situation in the East, where it's slightly easier to get yourself into that playoff situation. But they've been just good enough not to break it up, but not good enough to really threaten anybody. And, to some extent, that's kind of been the Kings story over the last several years as well. So a lot to talk about here. We hope you're having a great Sunday. It's a beautiful day in our capital city here. And the Kings are trying to do something that they have not done since 2022, and that is a 7-game winning streak. If you want to join us, you certainly can at 916-339-1140. We're up and running on our YouTube chat. Now, Anthony, you should have told me. I forgot to actually log in on our chat, so nobody can see me at the moment. But I'm going to get in there right now so everybody can get up and running. I'm assuming they can see your beautiful smile this morning.
They can see you as well.
That's right. I'm in studio.
You don't have to sign in today.
Yeah. Well, I just don't do it enough from the studio. I should know better. I know you would not have let me down like that.
Yeah, no. Of course, not just my face on here.
It's the person behind the mic who is messing up, and that's me, of course. So I get that. But Anthony, you know what? I'm in a good mood this morning. I think Sacramento Kings fans are in a great mood this morning. 6 straight wins. And again, that win on Friday against the Celtics, a signature win. They came out, played well from the beginning, shot the ball well, defensively locking up the Celtics, who were fully healthy too. There's no excuses on this one. And it's not like Porzingis was out. It's not like Drew Holiday was out again. They had their full forces, and the Kings, without their best player, go in there and close the deal.
Absolutely. It was very impressive to see them outshoot the Celtics from 3-point range. Out Celtic the Celtics. How do you even manage to do that? I love what the Kings are doing right now, and I can't even begin to express how much fun I'm having watching this team.
Yeah, it's been a blast. And Doug Christie, boy, what a turnaround. And, it's interesting because, Doug's a part of Mike Brown's staff, and it's not like there's a complete changeover. All the other coaches are the same, but obviously things are different. And to your point about the 3-point shooting, the Kings were 18 of 47, nearly 40%. The Celtics were just 11 of 41. So there's two things about that. The Celtics averaged almost 50 threes a game. So they limited the number of threes, and then the percentage was awful for the Celtics as well, 27%.
Absolutely. And, that was definitely a part of their defensive plan. Keegan talked about it post-game. He was very open about the fact that they just wanted to get him off the line, jumping the passing lane, just making sure that they can't get a shot off from beyond the arc. And it just worked to perfection. Their game plan just absolutely was amazing to watch. Keon had a lot fewer minutes, which was kind of interesting, but still impactful. Devin Carter is getting impactful minutes. So much fun to watch the defense of this team.
No doubt. And Devin Carter, obviously defensively, has been a spark plug for the team. But what he did to start that fourth quarter too was awesome. It was great to see the Rook. He came out there in a tied game in the fourth quarter, lit up a couple of threes. Seemingly they're 100 feet up in the air and they fall straight through. And then he attacks it after that. 8 straight points from Devin Carter. And that was what really got the Kings going. It was a tied game at that point. They were playing well, but that 8-0 streak was what really pushed them to get the win.
Absolutely. He was definitely a spark plug for them. He was playing with ultimate confidence for a rookie. That was incredibly impressive. I was so happy to see him take those shots. And after hitting those 2 threes, immediately going and driving to the basket and making some tough buckets. I thought everything was going in for him. I remember he took another heat check a little bit later. That didn't
okay.
fall. But
he earned it.
He absolutely earned it. I'm so happy to see him go and take that heat check. He deserved it. I'm just happy to see the team playing with confidence.
And I love the fact that Doug Christie kept him in until about the 4-minute mark, in that game. He let him go throughout that run too. He didn't take him out. We know Keon Ellis started that game, but Devin Carter was the one who was on the floor late in that game. And then when Mike Brown went to the bench, he brought Trey Lyles back in.
I think I remember Doug Christie talking about this. He went and talked to Keon to say, like, hey, the Rook's doing really well. We're going to keep you on the bench for a little bit, let him go. But Keon was about to go talk to Doug Christie and say the same thing, which just great story. I'm so happy that they're all just playing for each other and happy for each other.
Yeah. And again, to do it without De'Aaron makes it even more special. And, Malik Monk, we've known he's a combo 1-2, but what he's been doing running the point in these last 3 games, he has been shining out there, and his ability to pass the ball has been absolutely exceptional. He had 8 more assists on Friday night. He didn't shoot the ball well. He took 24 shots, only made 9 of them. That's okay. But the way he's distributing the basketball right now, and, it's interesting because with De'Aaron off the floor, they've gone to DeMar late in games now. We saw that against Miami in the overtime. He took over, especially in that double overtime, had the 9 points and carried them to the win. He was great in the fourth quarter again. And what I love is they're isolating him up top and they're allowing him to make decisions. So he can drive, pull up, take the midi. He can drive all the way to the basket and get there and go off glass. He's willing to shoot a few more threes. Not that his percentage is great, but he had a couple on Friday night, just keeping the defense honest. And it almost feels like, and again, not fair to say because De'Aaron is the best player on the team. It almost feels like DeMar has a little bit more space when De'Aaron's not on the floor.
Definitely. I think that it comes with time. He's still new to the team. We're only 30. We're not even halfway through the season, almost halfway through the season, but still it takes time.
It does.
And I think that they're just slowly learning that he needs space to work. He's a Hall of Famer. He's had his game for as long as I remember. And he's not going to change that. So the Kings just need to kind of give him the space to work, give him the shots that we know that he can make. And if he makes them, good. If he doesn't, then I think there's still good shots because he's a tough shot maker.
He is definitely a tough shot maker. And he's a guy who obviously does it when it counts the most in the fourth quarter. And he's doing that for the Kings. That's why they got him. They got him to close games. And he has been a closer, especially these last couple of games. And for him too, 9 assists, and that's a great number for DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, he was doing a lot of, they were trying to double him. And as soon as the defense would collapse, he would kick, and it was paying off for the Kings that game. And I love to see him have that awareness to get the ball out when he is being doubled.
Yep. And we've said all of this and we haven't even mentioned Sabonis, and what an absolute dominating effort he had on Friday night in Beantown. 23 points, 28 rebounds, breaks the franchise record, which was his already. 20 defensive rebounds, 8 offensive rebounds. An incredible effort for Sabonis on the glass. And again, you talk to anybody around the league, and the first thing they really mention about Sabonis is, you know what, he should have been an all-star last year. He got all NBA. There is no way that he will not be on the all-star team this year. There is no chance of it. I know he's not going to get voted in. We understand that he's still way down in the tallies. But if you talk to anybody around the league, they are saying he is a lock for the all-star team. And I hope that's the case because he certainly deserves it. And this isn't my opinion. Like, I get a chance to work with a lot of the opposing broadcast teams when they come in, and to a man, they are all saying there is no way that Sabonis will not be on this Western Conference. Well, it's not even a Western Conference team anymore, but will not be an all-star.
I totally agree, but I thought the same thing last year.
I know.
So we'll see how much.
No, he's having a better year this year statistically.
Absolutely.
And he had a great year last year. So, it's just shades there in terms of this year versus last year. But I hope that he has got enough of the respect to make the all-star roster because he more than deserves it right now.
Absolutely. I agree. What he's doing, what he did on Friday night was incredible. The career high rebounds, 28. So insane. Every single time I heard a missed shot, I heard rebound Sabonis, and then you're down the floor. Tip-ins, there was multiple tip-ins. It was just amazing. Second chance buckets coming straight from him. It was beautiful to watch.
It was. And for the Celtics, now they're 27-11. They're in great shape, no doubt about that. They've been struggling a little bit since Christmas Day. They lost at home to the Sixers. They've had a couple more losses. This would be a bad loss for them at home in their eyes versus Sacramento. They're well behind Cleveland right now. They're 7 games back in the loss column to the Cavs, who are having one of the best seasons in NBA history right now. But I think they're fine. Every team goes through their patches. They could be a little bored, perhaps, being the defending champs, and they realize they don't have to have the best record to get out of the East or win an NBA championship. As you look at them right now, I feel like they're just as good as they were before.
Yeah, obviously it's the same team largely, and they're very good at what they do. It's just, I think you're right. I think that when you win a championship and they've been good for so long, you get a little bit complacent. I think it's just human nature. And maybe that's what's happening right now. Meanwhile, Cleveland is hungry. They're ready to prove everyone wrong. I think that they went largely overlooked. Everyone was talking about New York. Everyone was talking about Philadelphia. Not a lot of people were talking about Cleveland. And the Evan Mobley jump was huge as well. But I think that Boston is still the front runner for the East, in my opinion.
I would agree with that. Once you're the defending champ, and as long as you have everybody back going at it, you got to prove it in the playoffs. The regular season doesn't really matter as long as they get there. For the Kings, though, I mean, this defensive effort has been remarkable. And Doug Christie, he's imparted his will on this team. I don't know if he's made a lot of structural changes. We have obviously seen some more trapping. We've seen some more double teaming late in games, catching teams off guard. And that has made, a huge impact, particularly in the 76ers game, the Miami Heat game, notably. I don't know if the team is just more locked in on the simplified game plan, or just Doug is exerting his will on this team, that there's something about the buy-in of a former player who was a great defensive player, a first-team all-defensive player, and a 3-time second-team all-defensive player. If that just gives that extra level of credibility, that's like, okay, we're bought in now defensively. Because to the point, they shut down the three-point line on Friday night. They held the Celtics to just 40% shooting overall. Nobody got in their normal rhythm for the Celtics. They held Tatum to 5 of 13 shooting. Porzingis was off target. Jaylen Brown had to fight for every point. It was an impressive all-around defensive effort.
Absolutely. It was super impressive, and I'm very happy with what they're doing. I don't know if it's the buy-in. I don't know if it's the coach, but whatever I'm watching on the floor is incredibly different than what I've seen before. Whether it's effort or just they have a better game plan, I don't know. It's just working now. And everyone just seems a lot more confident in their defense.
No doubt. We'll get into more of that when we come back from the break as well. It's game day, coming to you live from the sports studios here, Sacktown Sports 1140 No strawberry and creams today. We should have brought in some brunch, Anthony. We should have kicked it off with something here, but we'll be fine. We'll take you until noon today. Then Kings Live pregame. Jason Ross will be in for that 12:30 tip. G-Man has the call for the game today as the Kings go for 7 in a row in Chicago. Game day is being brought to you by the law firm of Gingery, Hammer, and Associates. If you've got an injury, just call Gingery. More of game day right here. Sacktown Sports 1140.
All right, we are live on YouTube, and I'm going to make a hot swap with Ramsey, who is training today.
Ramsey, all right. We want to hear what Ramsey has to say, of course. He's always got the cool Kings hat
Absolutely.
going. Yeah. But we appreciate everybody being in our YouTube chat as well this morning. We know it's early, but a lot of enthusiasm right now with the Kings streaking. And this has been a lot of fun. Ramsey, what's your take here? Obviously, the Kings are playing much better defense. Is it the fact of Doug Christie? They're more locked in. What is going on? What has been the difference in these last 6 games?
And good morning, everyone. In my opinion, a lot of it's Doug. A lot of it's just a different voice and a different sense of focus, or they're now more funneled and more locked in. There may have been, and it may come out in reports that they needed a different voice, which has been proven. Other than that, they've just gone out, and Doug, in my opinion, has allowed them to play much more freer and allowed them to be themselves and let the chips fall where they may. Granted, we know he loves to win. Everyone loves to win, but his whole focus isn't on that. It's on a micro. The focus is more on a micro level, which is leading to the macro of wins.
Yeah, I agree with that. He obviously is simplifying the offense, and he's getting them out and running. I think if I notice a couple of things, they're not dribbling the ball up the court as much. They're passing the ball up the court, which is getting the ball out faster in transition. They're not worried about getting into a set offense. They're just moving the ball, and that's helped them offensively. I don't think there's any question about that.
Most definitely. The ball is skipping at rates that I haven't seen in quite some time, or let's rephrase it, since potentially when Doug was here, or the first, as we call it, being team, the one that made the playoffs. At that particular time, the ball was skipping. You could see anywhere from 25 to 30 assists per game, and you're seeing that now. And you have everyone wanting to be much more willing passers, as you brought up in the first segment. Not only did Malik have 8 assists, DeMar had 9. I mean, Sabonis always moves the ball. Granted, he only had 3 assists on Friday, but I'm not saying anything there because he had a career-high 28 rebounds. Even Trey Lyles had 3 assists with his 11 rebounds that he had on Friday as well.
He did. And Sabonis, I mean, he's been great all season long, but this was probably his best game on Friday night. 28 rebounds, phenomenal effort. And, one thing that I think offensively that actually is kind of working for them, they're not running as many dribble handoffs, and that was great for them a couple of years ago, but part of those dribble handoffs kind of slowed down the offensive movement. Now it's about attacking, crisp passing, getting into the lane. Malik's been great creating too.
Oh, most definitely. And I personally thought before the game started, I wouldn't have thought Sabonis was going to have 28 rebounds because I thought he was going to get pulled out because he was on Porzingis. And I thought Porzingis was going to pull him away from the basket. I'm glad I was pleasantly wrong about that assumption.
Yeah, no, you were wrong about that one, but that's okay. We'll take it. You've been right about a lot of the other ones. It's just been a fun time. And for the Kings, nobody would have predicted this, where they're at right now, based on what was going on just a couple of weeks ago with this team.
Most definitely.
Welcome back into game day right here, Sacktown Sports 1140. We appreciate the conversation during the break. We're up and running in our YouTube page. Simply go to YouTube and then join in on Sacktown Sports 1140. We've got a lot of people watching there and chiming in the chat room. You can do that as well, or you can simply give us a call this morning, 916-339-1140. We have both Anthony and Ramsey here. The High Flyer is out today, but he'll be back with us on Tuesday when the Kings are in Milwaukee. Sacramento trying to do something they haven't done since 2022. That is win 7 straight games. Again, we know what they've been doing on the road all season long. They've been a good road team. They're 2 games above 500 now, 9-7 on the road. That's impressive. They've certainly have helped their home court record with the last 5 wins there. So a team trending in the right direction at 19-19. Question I'm going to throw out there, and again, not trying to stir anything up. I just want some thought on this, because this is what we do. We talk, right? I mean, this is what we're here for. So the Kings have won 6 straight. They've won 3 now without De'Aaron. Malik has played great at the point. He's done a tremendous job. The Kings have been rolling. We know there's been a lot of talk about De'Aaron right now and his future status. We know his contract's up at the end of next year. We also know that he did not sign an extension prior to the season starting. We also understand that was mainly because of the money that he can make potentially by making an all-NBA team and all those things that are in front of him. It wasn't an indictment on Sacramento as much as what's in the future for De'Aaron Fox. But there's a lot of nervousness about De'Aaron and what could happen. We've got the trade deadline coming up in February. We have an off season coming up as well, where the Kings certainly want to lock him up before going into that final year. The question I'll throw out, and I'll throw it out to both of you guys there. We'll throw it out to the people out listening to us today as well in our chat room. With the Kings showing they can play at least in a few games, it's not a season, we understand that, but with Malik doing what he's done, he's signed. DeMar taking over games late, he's signed. Does it make it any easier for the Kings to consider trade offers for De'Aaron Fox, knowing everything that's swirling at the moment, or is that just nonsense talk?
Personally, I'm not even getting into the De'Aaron Fox trade talk. Yes, he's been out for 3 games. I understand that. They're playing well. But for this team to function, and we saw it, for example, on the last game of the homestand against Miami, especially when Miami ran the zone, this team in those circumstances definitely needs De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox is, for example, is a zone breaker. That's why the offense got stagnant against Miami, because De'Aaron Fox wasn't there to get in, penetrate the paint, kick and spray, or get his mid-range or get his floaters away. And I'm not even entertaining that talk. If they make that move, great. Hopefully they don't. But if it happens, it happens. I'm not engaging in it one way or the other personally.
No, that's fair. I do think it's a fair talk subject, of course, because that's what we do here, right?
Oh, most definitely.
You know, my personal opinion, I don't think there's anything we'll see before any sort of trade deadline. They're still fully invested in De'Aaron Fox and keeping him here. They realize he's the best player and all those types of things. I think it's more a topic in the offseason. If you cannot re-sign De'Aaron Fox in the offseason, and then you're kind of going into a lame duck season potentially with De'Aaron Fox, that's when it becomes more of an issue. But I do agree with you. But I will also say the Kings are showing right now that they can still be a pretty good team without De'Aaron. It's a small sample size, right?
Very true.
It's a small sample size, and these 6 wins are a small sample size. But you have to say Malik has done a good job running the point. DeMar is a guy who we knew can take over games late, and especially when he's the guy, right? It's not a question mark about De'Aaron being the guy. You know, they're going to DeMar. So the Kings are showing some good things there.
They are showing signs there, and as well, in my opinion, I know everybody's still talking about they need to make some form of a move. What that is, personally, I don't know. But at the same time, with the coaching change, do you wait it out? Do you try to see where the team, which direction the team is going, however long this win streak, however long this path is, and wait it out and see if you're good with what you have, or do you make subtle moves?
Yeah. And that's the thing with De'Aaron. Of course, you know that you're going to get some really good value back in return. So if the Kings truly are looking for another athletic 3 or 4 and looking for another big man, you know you're not trading De'Aaron Fox without getting one or both of those back in return and some draft picks.
You'd have to get to move De'Aaron. I need some form of a haul that makes sense, good, bad, or indifferent, younger, older, whatever that may be. And some of the names that have been brought up in rumors or trade talk, not for De'Aaron, but on other trade fronts, if we go in and look at the injury report, their names are on it. Cam Johnson has been out for a few games with an ankle injury. John Collins, I want to say it was like a knee or ankle, but he sat out a couple of games. Even another person on that same Utah team, Jordan Clarkson, is out for a significant amount of time with, I want to say, a lower body injury. I can't recall, but I saw his name and it said he's going to be out for a few weeks, a significant amount of time. So for the names that have been mentioned, what do you do when we all say the best ability is availability? Those gentlemen's names that have been mentioned, they're not available right now. So what are you supposed to do?
Great point. And I think we'll move on from that for now. We're going to get to some phone calls. I just want to throw out there too, the other thing, because we're talking about injuries, and De'Aaron, he's been durable this year. This is the first time he's missed. And obviously he got clipped going up for that dunk late in the game. I want to throw out there, John Morant is thrown out there that he's not going to be the super high flyer anymore because he doesn't want to get hurt, right? He has said he is not going to be the dunk machine that we love seeing on all the highlights and what has made him such an exciting player because of the threat of injury. Do you think that makes De'Aaron rethink maybe taking some of those dunks?
I personally don't, because De'Aaron, half of his game operates off of him being as athletic as possible, and for him to not just try to get to the lane, lay the ball up, dunk the ball. He also relies on his athleticism to get in the lane, shoot the mid-range, shoot the floater. That requires jumping and things of that nature. And one other small little tidbit, getting back to De'Aaron Fox and this injury, they listed as a glute, but people fail to realize that pain has traveled to his hip. And that to me was the major concern. And unfortunately, that's what's kept him out truly the last 3 games, because the pain has traveled to his hip. And now he's more concerned with the going into the bone, not just a soft tissue, soft muscle injury.
And the nice thing is the Kings don't have to rush De'Aaron Fox back, and they went anyways.
Exactly.
But the way they're playing and what they've got with the depth in this backcourt now is pretty impressive. All right, let's get to KD, who joins us on a Sunday morning game day. KD, how are you, my friend?
Good morning. Good morning, driving. Hey, guys, one thing, let me first start off. When De'Aaron got hurt, I was a little disappointed in some of the teammates didn't get in, what's his name, Jackson's face a little bit more and say, hey, that was dirty. But I want to talk a little bit about it's very hard to find a player this caliber. And why I say this, I'm not sure who said it, but he's got the float, he's got the jumper. To be that quick and that skilled, if you just go back to the playoffs against the Warriors, it was De'Aaron that carried us through that, okay? And he was hurt. He was playing hurt.
Yep.
This whole conversation about trading De'Aaron or not paying this kid is absurd. It's hard to find a player like that. It's very hard, right? I mean, wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah, KD, I totally agree, because De'Aaron's a unicorn, right? And I think the conversation comes more from the standpoint of if De'Aaron's not going to resign, more from his perspective, maybe than the team's, because I think the team would do everything that you're talking about right now.
Right. But I mean, De'Aaron would sign if the money's there. Let's be real. He's got Rich Paul as his agent. And I'm not even going to get into conversation about Vivek because I'm not a fan. But at the end of the day, this kid, I've been watching Kings basketball since 99. That's when I first bought my first house. And I'm going to tell you right now, I haven't seen anybody step in the Kings uniform. He's got a mixture. Think about it. The way he plays, tell me one King that's ever played like that. Besides Shea Alexander and a couple other guys in the league, show me another guy that plays like that.
Hey, KD, I agree with you. That's why I called him the unicorn, because it's one.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm in agreement with you there. I appreciate the phone call very much. Opens up a line 916-339-1140. If you want to join us on this Sunday morning, we would love to hear from you. It's Kings game day. We'll be with you until noon today, getting you ready for Kings Live pregame. As again, Jason Ross will be in for that game day, being brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. Check out their full line of vehicles at mbfstockton.com. We'll be chatting during the break in our YouTube, so you can join us there. And we'll be back right after this on Sacktown Sports 1140.
We are live on YouTube.
Okay, fantastic. Again, I think, just kind of following up on the conversation, it's really been started more from the standpoint of what De'Aaron is going to do, at the end of this year, or potentially with the thought that maybe he wouldn't be willing to resign, because the absolute catastrophic thing the Kings can't have, and is a very unlikely scenario, but it's not a 0% scenario, is that De'Aaron Fox walks as an unrestricted free agent after next year. That would be absolute ground zero.
That's the whole take. You can't let De'Aaron Fox walk for nothing.
No.
You've got whatever it is. You got to get something for him, whatever that might be.
Yeah, and we're a long ways away from that, obviously.
Most definitely.
We're so far from that. So I agree with it. The conversation's a little too soon to be talking about, but at the same time, we do have a trade deadline coming up. So having looked at the Kings right now and what they're doing and the way they're rebounding in terms of the 6-game win streak, are the Kings going to be active during the trade deadline?
Personally, I feel that they are, because there are some tweaks that need to be made, and there are some I'm not saying players, but contracts that are very tradable within the system. One of them, and because either A, they're expiring, or B, they're a contract that many teams can absorb without feeling like they're getting hard cap or stressed. One of them I definitely would not like to see move, but I understand he's a tradable asset because of his contract and it being expiring, is Trey Lyles. I definitely don't want to see him go. The other name that is brought up, especially because his contract is a good tradable contract, is Kevin Huerter.
Sure. And Herter's had his moments this year.
Most definitely.
He's had his lack of moments too. He's been up and down.
In my opinion, he's been helter skelter, but with Doug being named the head coach, as with many other individuals on the team, he's restored some of their faith and confidence in their skills, and allowed them to play freely and allowed them to play like themselves.
Yeah, I think that's well said, and certainly the Kings have responded. And the question will be, you always get a jolt when there's a massive change. We understand that. How long can this jolt last? They're not going to be perfect forever. We understand there's going to be some adversity. It's how the team will respond after there is some adversity, and we'll just have to see when that comes up for Sacramento. But they have made great strides in terms of getting back into a playoff situation. Right now, they'd be in the play-in if season ended today with that 500 record. They're only a game back of the Timberwolves, who are 20-18, the Clippers, and the Lakers are 2 games ahead of them, who are the last team kind of in that top 6.
That's all you can ask for. You just want an opportunity. You just want an opportunity at the dance, like they say in college, or they say here with the play-in. All you want is an opportunity, and then you need to find a way to take advantage of it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, we're coming back, so we will keep it quiet. Welcome back into Game Day right here, Sacktown Sports, 1140, an early brunch here as we get ready for the Kings and the Bulls. We'll break down the full matchup. We'll have the Ginger and Hammer injury report coming your way in our next segment. Game Day, as always, is being brought to you by the Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Sacramento. They're looking for volunteer mentors. For just a few hours a month, you can help impact the life of a child in a very significant way. Call 916-646-9300 or visit bbbs-sac.org to learn more about it. We'll focus in on the Kings, but I want to go around the league just a little bit. Obviously, all our thoughts, our prayers have been focused with everybody down south in our state and the tragedy that's unfolding in Los Angeles with the fires, and still so much uncertainty about whether those fires are going to expand and the impact. And, the sports part of it is insignificant in the total picture of things. But, the Lakers and Clippers have been impacted by this. JJ Redick's house burned down. His family had to evacuate, and JJ Redick will figure it out. We understand he has the resources to make it happen, but all these players and coaches are human beings too. They're dealing with real human things. The Lakers have had 2 games suspended, the 2 games been postponed. They'll be played later on. The Clippers had their game postponed as well. Kawhi Leonard has left the Clippers after his family was evacuated in the LA area. We know DeMar DeRozan has family in the area as well. And, again, we just want to throw that out there because we're talking hoops right now. We have a lot bigger things going on, and we know it's having a severe impact in the league as well. And
again, it's not just basketball; it's all of sports. I mean, as we've seen, the Rams got rescheduled. Yes, for tomorrow in Glendale in Arizona. The Los Angeles Kings had their game canceled on Tuesday. I happened to look at their schedule. That was their last game on a homestand, and now they're on a Canadian road trip, but they're canceled. I mean, you and I are involved with the UC Davis men's basketball team, and the majority of the teams that they play are in Southern California.
Yeah.
And I know some of the schools may not be as close to where the fires are, but there are some that are definitely nearby. And I know they're impacted as well, not just the school, but just travel, just to get back. Like, for example, we were on the UC Davis and Long Beach State game yesterday. Long Beach has to find a way to get back to the LA area at some point, and we don't even know what travel looks like just due to the fires. I haven't done as much extensive research. Are they allowing people to fly into LAX? Are they allowing people to fly into Burbank? Are they allowing people to fly into Long Beach?
The airports are open, so they were able to get back, is the answer to your question. But there's a lot of uncertainty as to how things could happen and how that could impact flights. And for UC Davis, they go down south next week. And personally, I'm from Arcadia. That's where I was born, and that's right next to Pasadena. And everybody's familiar with Pasadena and what's going on there.
And for example, I know people that are close to the horse racing industry, and now Santa Anita racetrack is now being used as a refuge facility for people to escape to, because I believe it's the Eaton Fire, the one that's where Altadena and Pasadena is. Correct. Basically, that just happens to be on the other side of, for those that are familiar with I-210, and it would have to jump. The fire would have to jump for it to impact that, but it's very close. It's close to the Rose Bowl as well.
No doubt. In Santa Anita, I grew up about 2 miles from there, and it's in Arcadia. All right, let's get back to the phone lines. We want to talk Kings, obviously going for 7 in a row today in Chicago. We bring in Ashley. Ashley, welcome to Game Day. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
We're doing great. What's going on, my friend?
Not a whole lot. I'm just really looking forward to this game. Not sure if Fox is playing. I don't know if you guys have any
Fox
insight
is
on
out
that.
for
But
today's.
as far as this game goes, I'm really excited to see what goes down. I've heard a lot of chatter from some national media people saying that the Kings are better without Fox, and I hope he plays and we can prove him wrong.
Well, I don't know if anybody would say the Kings are better without Fox. I mean, who's saying that?
It was a Yahoo sports writer. I forgot his name. I think it was Rosenthal or something like that.
All right, I'll have to look that one up. I don't know how any team could be better without their best player.
It was a Yahoo sports piece. They did a 40-minute podcast, and it was 2 Yahoo sports writers, and they literally said the Kings were playing better without Fox.
Okay, well, maybe playing better in a few games because they've been playing better now. And I'll listen to it. I appreciate the phone call too, Ashley. And I hope you get your wish with the Kings victory this afternoon. It's one thing to say maybe the Kings are playing better in this stretch, but I don't think anybody, despite what our conversation might be about De'Aaron Fox and what you think about in terms of if you traded for him, what you could get back and how that might affect the team. I don't think anybody can say the Kings are better right now without De'Aaron Fox. That doesn't make any sense at all. There's no team anywhere in any sport that's better without their best player. So I don't think that is the case with the Sacramento Kings, certainly. Again, if you want to join the program, 916-339-1140. We're up and running in our YouTube chat as well. Kings and Bulls. Let's talk a little bit about the Bulls here, because this is a team. It's very interesting. They're 18-20. They're playing a little bit better too. This is a team that for a long time has been a team that has been looked at that maybe the Kings want some of their assets. Zach LaVine, the Kings made a qualifying offer on him years ago, back when Vlade was the GM. And of course, the Bulls went and signed LaVine after that. There's been rumors there of potential interest for him. Of course, the Kings went out and signed DeMar DeRozan as a free agent. He was in Chicago, so it's going to be DeMar's first return there this afternoon. That will be interesting. You've got Vucevic, who's an excellent big man, but the Bulls just haven't been able to get over the hump. They're 18-20. They've got a trade deadline coming up as well. Will this be the year where they finally break things up? And who will these players be going to? What do you think, Ramsey?
Zach LaVine has been playing out of his mind this year again, mainly because he's healthy.
Yeah.
And that's, again, best ability is availability with Zach LaVine. Vucevic has been playing well.
Lonzo Ball is back. That helps.
Dancing to his brother's song on the court and in the locker rooms, which has become a viral sensation and NBA hit.
Yeah.
The
Kobe White is somebody I think is just a really good player, and he's been a Kings killer over the years.
You stole the words out of my mouth. Kobe White torches the Kings almost every time he gets on the court. I know he's on the questionable status today, but we'll take a look at that in just a few moments. But he's one, if he plays, Kings got to know where he's at all times, and he's either number 1 or 1A on it. It should be number 1 or 1A on that scouting report because he's been known to torch the Kings.
Yeah, and let me update on De'Aaron Fox. He is listed as questionable. I shouldn't say he is out. I don't have definite on that yet. So as we get that, we will further update on that. We'll see if he does return today or not. But we know certainly that DeMar DeRozan is returning to Chicago today for the first time since signing a free agent contract here. That'll be interesting to see how that goes for DeMar. Not like he hasn't been in other stops. I mean, if DeMar were putting a jersey up into the Basketball Hall of Fame, which I think he will get into someday, he's going to be wearing a Raptors jersey when he goes in, not a Bulls jersey.
More likely not. And like he told Drake's going to have to climb up real high to try to take that jersey down from the Raptors. But yeah, in my opinion, especially because he's very close, 25,000 points. That, especially in today's day and age,
he's getting in.
You're getting in six time, potentially, hopefully 7-time All-Star. But that man's getting in, and he in my opinion, has revolutionized his position because he keeps the mid-range still relevant to this day.
All right. What do you think about the conversation? DeMar's had 2 really good games, and he's been the guy that the Kings have relied to go to. Now, we saw earlier in the year in the win at Phoenix in overtime, it was De'Aaron and DeMar that scored every point in that overtime. They worked well together, so it's not like they can't work well together on the floor as well. But when De'Aaron's off the floor and DeMar is dedicated as kind of that go-to guy late, is that helping DeMar?
I personally think it is, and I know you mentioned the Phoenix game. That's one of the 2 games where I felt DeMar DeRozan brought the team home. I was actually at that game in Arizona, and it was a great sight to watch him bringing the team home in overtime. He definitely brought him home in double overtime this past Monday against Miami. I think that it does work because even if he gets stuck on most occasions, he can find someone to skip the ball to. But in my one other small opinion I have as well, the Kings can't ball watch because sometimes they get caught ball watching when he's isolating, and that unfortunately forces him to take those shots because they don't leave him an option. My take is keep moving. He will find you. Case in point, he had 9 assists on Friday.
He did.
So therefore, if you keep moving for you, he's a willing passer. He's not, as they call, a black hole or a ball hog. He'll find you.
Yeah.
So
and I like that they're having him up top too. I just think that's a good spot on the floor for him because he can pull up and take the midi. He can attack. He's good at getting to the rim. He's a willing 3-point shooter. He's not necessarily a great 3-point shooter, but he's enough of a 3-point shooter to be a threat.
Yeah, he's enough to be a threat. And where I like him at taking the threes, because it's a foot and a half closer.
Sure, he's a better corner 3-point
That's
shooter.
exactly where I was going. I like him in the corner.
But I think he's better up top in terms of his all-around game. He can do more when he's working from up top.
I understand exactly because he can see the entire floor from the top of the key, from the point. He can distribute to his left, to his right, move forward, either take the mid-range, take the layup, which we see him taking recently, especially Miami. We definitely saw it in the Boston game.
Yep.
So those options are definitely available for him, and he can distribute from there as well.
All right. Game nights. We need to get to our final break here. When we come back, we'll get you the injury report as well. We'll take your phone calls. Again, 916-339-1140. We're up and running in our YouTube chat as well. We appreciate everybody chiming in there. Game night brought to you by our good friends at Power Business Technology. Experience how the power of family can help your business office equipment needs today. Contact them at 844-POWER-BZ or go to powercopiers.com. More of Game Day right here. Sacktown Sports, 1140. Okay. And I'll
Okay.
All right, we're up in the YouTube chat.
Yes, we are.
Okay. What's going on in the chat? We've got a busy chat room today. Anything standing out in there that we want to hit on?
Just the Just sending out well wishes to Henry. Someone asked where Henry is. We send our well wishes.
High Flyer is out today dealing with some family stuff, and so we have our heart and thoughts and prayers go to him and his family.
Very true. Other than that, just your typical Sunday morning Kings discussion, whether it be local or some national talk where they're speaking about national reporters, pundits, whatever. Many of them, unfortunately, as we have seen this week, their knowledge is completely lacking because they're unaware and they're making false reports on national platforms.
Yeah. Well, here's the one, and I was telling Anthony this earlier as well. Whenever I get a chance to talk to other fellow broadcasters with other teams, and we're just having our conversation before the game, to a person, every single one of them says that Sabonis will be an all-star this year.
I hope that is very true. I can see him as an all-star. Unfortunately, I saw an ESPN article written by, I think it was one of their experts. They didn't have Sabonis even sniffing the list. They had for front court, they had LeBron, Anthony Davis, Jokic, Durant, Alperen Şengün from Houston.
And all those people are great candidates too.
And I understand that.
But they don't have Sabonis' numbers.
Very true. They had Jalen Williams from Oklahoma City, which I definitely understand with them being number one team.
OKC deserves two players.
The one that I'm going to argue, because personally I don't feel he's an all-star. I don't think he's having a better season than Sabonis. But they listen to him because they're the number 3 team in the West is Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yeah, Triple J, I don't think so. I mean, he's made an all-star team, and kind of once you make a team, you're kind of grandfathered in to some extent. But Sabonis is having a way better year than Triple J.
Most definitely, but like I said, the sad argument that I have to make, they're third in the West, and you've got it, and the NBA looks like you have to have some form of representation there.
But I think there is. Last year with Sabonis not making the all-star team, but making the all-NBA team, I think that's going to be in the memories of some people too.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, as we said, he's all NBA. He's all NBA regardless whether he makes all-star team or not, and he's proven that on multiple occasions.
Look who just came in here. The High Flyers in the house. Good to see you, my man.
What up, man?
How you doing, my friend? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm just running, man. Just taking care of some family business.
Well, we weren't expecting to see you, but we are certainly happy to see you.
Hey, you know what? Hey, the Kings got a game, man, and if I can be here,
we're about ready to come back on. We're just in our chat. So,
cool.
Yeah. Welcome back into Game Day right here, Sacktown Sports 1140. Scott Marsh, and I'm joined now by the High Flyer. Henry, it is great to see you. As I was saying to our YouTube fans as you were walking in, we weren't expecting to see you, but we are happy to see you, and we just hope everything is okay with you, my friend.
Yeah, well, it's still a progress, Scooter, and got some things, some family issues going on, but hey, I'm a trooper, bro. I'm gonna make it.
You are that. You are a gamer. We've known that about you for a long time, so we appreciate you being here. We're going to get your thoughts on today. We do want to get to our injury report. The injury report is always brought to you by the law firm of Gingery, Hammer, and Associates. If you've got an injury, just call Gingery. For the Kings, we're still getting conflicting reports about De'Aaron Fox. We'll have a for certain update coming at Kings Live pregame. The latest we've heard that he is available. So I think there's a good chance we're going to see De'Aaron Fox today, which is great news for the Sacramento Kings. As for the Bulls today, Patrick Williams probable. Kobe White is listed as questionable, so we'll have to get a game time decision on him as well. All right. High Flyer, Kings are rolling 6 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree with me that was their best win of the year on Friday night in Boston?
That was a real good win. I mean, Scooter, the Kings have put together a couple of real good wins. The win against Miami was good. It was big.
Sure.
The way they came back and the way they fought, and the win before that was a very impressive win. Yeah. So, for them to go into Boston, though, and do what they did to beat the champs, I would have to agree with you. That might be the biggest win of the year.
No questioning. Going away without your best player against the team who had everybody.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
It doesn't, Scooter. But, remember what I said when we talked about the Kings going on the road. I said, I'm never really worried about a road Sacramento Kings team.
Yeah,
they always find a way to, play good basketball while they're on the road.
Yeah, they do. And they have bonded together, and that defense was special because, again, the Celtics, they love to shoot a ton of threes. They only got 41 off, which is low for them. And even lower, they only made 11 of them. And the Kings, that's been the criticism all season long. They do not defend the three-point line. They did on Friday night.
They did a little bit of everything right Friday night. And Scooter, you're starting to see a turn with this team. And I think that the team is starting to learn what's best for them, what type of traits they need to have offensively and defensively. Because I've noticed this. They've actually started pushing the ball even after made baskets. When the ball goes through the basket, Scott, instead of them taking the ball and just walking it up, somebody's snatching the ball out of the rim real quick, taking it out of bounds, throwing it to Malik Monk or whoever is the guard, and they're advancing it with the pass up the floor, and they're getting easy baskets that way.
They are. The tempo's been great. Now, we have confirmed, and I think Dave Duspason sending this to me, Chris Biederman, who's on the trip for the B, has confirmed that De'Aaron Fox is available today, so he should play, which is great news for the Kings. Obviously, the Kings are rolling. They've been rolling with De'Aaron. They've been rolling without De'Aaron. How do you throw him back in the mix after 3 games?
You know, them winning basketball games without De'Aaron is a plus. You know, it gives guys like Keon Ellis and the young rookie a lot of time to get out there and, you know, just create some confidence.
Yeah.
But, you know, De'Aaron's your guy. He's the head of the snake. So when he's ready to go, he's ready to go. You put him right back in his position. But what you're hoping for is that when you do go to Keon Ellis, right, when you do go to the young rook, they are very much acclimated at what they need to do on the floor.
Yeah, no doubt. It'll be interesting from a rotation standpoint. Devin Carter got a ton of fourth quarter minutes. He deserved it, had an incredible run early in the fourth. You've got Keon playing well. You've got DeMar closing out games. Malik playing at a high level.
And, you know, DC is a very unique player, Scooter, as a point guard. He rebounds the ball. Mm-hmm. He's in the mix. Yeah. He's in the middle. You know, that's something that this team sorely needs. You know, we talk about gang rebounding, playing small ball. That's his game.
No doubt. So DC will certainly have a lot of choices today. And we'll see how much usually when a player comes back, they're not on any minutes restriction because they're healthy enough to play,
right? You
know, total minutes. So we'll see what that means for De'Aaron today. And obviously the other big story, DeMar going back to Chicago.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? You know, we always talk about, you know, a homecoming coming back. You know, I think it's more so a homecoming for him in Toronto than more so
sure. That's
Chicago.
I agree with that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Okay.
Sure.
He went to Chicago, played three years there?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, played with the Bulls, no problem. But I do see the storyline. Okay. DeMar coming back right after he left us. So, you know, that's going to be another one of those things where Debo, give them buckets. Give them buckets.
No doubt. It's a Chicago team that's playing better, too. They've got Lonzo Ball back.
Yeah.
Levine's healthy, playing great. You know, Kobe White is listed as questionable. He's a Kings killer.
He's the one.
It wouldn't bother me if you weren't able to go there.
Hey, he is the guy that always come up big against us. You know, it's certain players that we play against in the league. PJ Washington, you could throw Kobe White in there. You know, it's a couple other guys that when they see that purple man, I mean, they just light up.
All right, that's going to do it for game day. Henry, great to see him.
Always
here today. You'll be with Jason Ross. Kings Live pregame's coming up next. 12:30 tip today. Kings and Bulls. We've got you covered all day long here. Sacramento Kings basketball, as they try to win 7 in a row for the first time since 2022. We got you covered. Enjoy it all afternoon long here, right here on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Start the year strong at InShape Fitness. Play basketball, try yoga or Pilates, or work with their personal